What is up, everyone? JD here. Hope you're doing well today. I'm excited. We're going to be doing the full review of the Protech Mordax. What we'll be doing is going through knife specs. We will do some size comparisons to help give you an idea the size of this knife, good reference knives. I will give you my thoughts and impressions and then alternate recommendations if I have any. Let's go ahead and jump into the knife specs. The Mordax has a 3.5-inch Magna Cut blade, 4.63-inch aluminum handles for an overall length of 8.125 inches, and claimed weight is 3.84 ounces. Let me grab the scale and we will check the weight right now. Yeah, so 3.8485, so it might be rounding up to 3.9. Let me just check it one more time. Yeah, so it's teetering, which leads me to believe that it's probably around that 3.8. So it's under 4 ounces, which is really, really good. Let me go ahead and get some size comparison knives to start giving you a good idea what this knife size is like. Let's go ahead and get some comparison knives out here so it'll help give you an idea the size of this knife. First up, we're going to bring out the Demco AD 20.5, a very popular and a very nice, friendly EDC size. And we will also bring out the Shaman, another great knife that you can reference, really close in size to the PM2 and the PM3 as well, if that helps. As you can see, this is definitely more close in size to the Shaman than it is the Demco AD 20.5. So I definitely constitute this as a full carry knife. Let's go ahead and get these out of the way, and then we'll bring out the Benchmade Bug Out, a great reference knife here. A lot of people have the Bug Out and are familiar with the size of that knife. And we will also bring out the SIG K320 made by Hogue, or the Hogue SIG. As you can see, again, closer to the larger knife on the table. Might not be quite as girthy as the SIG, but pretty close. And again, another good size reference on the table. Last but not least, we'll go ahead and bring out the budget knives. First, we'll bring out the QB Royal KE321. This is my only sub 3-inch knife reference here on the table, and we'll bring out the Buck 110. Trying to move through the size references quickly so it'll help you again with the size. We'll do a quick profile comparison against 3 of the knives that we just had out here so you can get an idea of the thickness of this knife. We'll start with the QB Royal since we have that out here. As you can see here, it is just much thinner than the Royal. We will bring out the Bug Out. Really close in size to that Bug Out. I have to come out over here past the chamfering to the pivot and kind of use my thumb to help me balance that out. But as you can see, it is just much thinner. The Bug Out is. But this is pretty close. We'll go ahead and bring the Shaman out. And you can see just a little bit thinner than the Shaman. So hopefully that has helped you with a good size reference for this knife. Let's go ahead and jump into my thoughts and impressions of the Protech Mordax. Ergos, really good ergos on this knife. Very comfortable, nicely chamfered on the edges. All the way around, has that integrated back spacer that is part of either of the 2 halves of this knife, which is really nice construction. The aluminum feels good in hand, has a really nice coating. It offers plenty of grip. I have very large hands, and you can see I am not choking up tight at all. My fingers are resting comfortably on the knife, and I have plenty of room left over. Now, I will say the forward finger choil is more of a sharpening choil, or you can get, for me, my first knuckle in there for perhaps some detailed work, but you're definitely not going to be able to fully choke up. You're going to be resting on top of the blade. I would have liked to see them give a fully dedicated forward finger choil here for those that have larger hands. I would have been okay sacrificing a little bit more of the sharpened edge for that, or just bring it on back and make that a very generous sharpening choil. You have that plunge grind back here, so you could have left a little bit extra on the knife. For me, little uncomfortable because I can't get, like I said, I can't get the full finger in there. Again, if you're doing something detailed work with the tip of the blade and you're doing some light cuts with it, you can get out there just fine. Otherwise, just choke up, throw the thumb over top of the scale, and that'll help you guide through any type of push cut. So I really do like that a lot. And it feels really well balanced. It feels like it's balanced right where your finger goes into the knife, so it feels really nice in hand. Fantastic pocket clip, goes in and out of the pocket nicely. It's recessed. It has recessed screws, no issues whatsoever, really going in and out nicely. The pocket clip does not impede the grip, no hot spot, doesn't affect the grip at all. Very comfortable to use for long periods of time. I like that they went with a nice thin geometry, tall flat grind on this model, keeping it nice and thin. This thing slices through materials. It has a really good edge from the factory, as you can see here. Both sides are done pretty well. A little bit thinner on this side than it is on this side. I feel like you can really see the difference between the two sides here. You have a much thinner grind on this side, so a little bit uneven, but it came razor sharp and it has been working just like that. I have not put my own edge on it. In the pivot, there are rocket glides and it is tuned really, really well. Has not backed out on me at all. I did the paste Loctite on it. I let it sit for 2 days and it has been rock solid, locked up like a bank vault, up and down, left and right, no blade play whatsoever. It does tend to slightly favor the show side. I know it's probably going to be really hard to tell, but it does favor just a hair. The clip side, I think I've been saying the show side, ever so slightly the clip side on here. So very, very minor though. And the tolerances are super duper tight. You almost can't even see down past the blade of the knife. Really well tuned. Man, this thing, oh, I'm trying so hard. I have not been able to fail it yet. And it doesn't have a lot of lock stick. Just a hint. Ooh, and it's hard to do that so close to the table. Gosh, it has great sounds. Really, really nice. I like the blade shape. Nice drop point. Plenty of flat edge here for your push cuts. It has a nice tip. Not super comfortable for the draw cuts or the utility cuts. You do have to come way up high for that. But I just think such a good looking aesthetic. I do like the operator button on there. It gives just a tiny hint of color, which I don't mind at all. Not a huge fan of the branding there. I think they probably could have tucked that in behind the magnet cut on the blade instead of having the branding so outlandish on the knife itself. Or even if they wanted to put it up here by the Protech, just kind of tuck it in. Yes, it would have been more branding crowded in around the blade. I think it would have looked better on the magnet cut side than the Protech USA side. I think it would have been okay to just have the show and then the number right underneath of it. Really small print. Outside of that, not anything really to complain about. Pocket clip, like I said, is really good. Nice and chamfered, so it's comfortable in hand. The blade is nice and thin, has a good geometry. Slightly uneven grinds. I mean, just slightly uneven. Not horrible at all. Really does perform really well. I'm really enjoying the magnet cut. I believe this has 63 or 64. I think it's 63 Rockwell hardness is what they're advertising on it. So great knife. It does have a few little snail trails for going in and out of the pocket or for me handling it left-handed with the ring. And outside of that, man, it's a solid knife. I really love this. If you thought that the Protech was too small, this is definitely going to be your jam if you do like that action that you get from Protech. Alternative recommendations: if you can't afford the Protech Malibu and you do like the size of this knife, there is an alternative option, and that is definitely 100% going to be the Civivi Conspirator. Has a more neutral handle, nice finishes, good steel with the Nitro V. Micarta feels really good in hand. Button lock performance is good on this knife. Let me move this out the way because I can tell you I'm going to hit the two of them. Actually, let me back out just a little. That way I can have them both on the screen again so that you can see them. And then I have tuned the Conspirator. It does want to fail, but that's because I did increase the spring tension because it was just a little hint of lock rock. So now I'm waiting for that spring to settle back down again. When you push the spring all the way in, it is free moving. Really nice action on this, and you're going to get it for around 72 bucks. If you don't like the size of the Mordax, I'm going to steer you right on over to its little brother, the Malibu. Bank Vault locked up knife. This one also on bearings, the Skiff Rocket Glide bearings, and just phenomenal action. Good EDC size blade, nice and sharp from the factory, and you can get it either smooth or textured. So a little bit smaller, a little bit more friendly. If you have medium or smaller hands, this is going to better suit you. Again, I do hang off the back a little bit on this knife, but I do love that knife a lot. And again, sometimes it is good to have the slightly smaller sizes. That's it for alternative recommendations. I gave you something at the same price point, smaller, and I gave you a fantastic alternative with the Conspirator, one of my favorite larger budget-friendly button lock knives. All in all, highly recommendable knife, worth getting, especially again because even though it is bigger, it does have that thinner profile. So it's still going to be comfortable, I think, for down to a medium-sized hand. I think with a medium-sized hand, you're probably going to be around here somewhere with it choked up. I think with my pinky and kind of angling it out a little bit, that's probably about where you're going to land for a medium-sized hand. Great knife. If you enjoyed today's review, do me a favor, leave a like. Consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed. Thanks to everyone out there that has subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all the support, the likes, and the comments. Y'all are fantastic. I love all of you. I hope you have a fantastic week, and until next time, peace.